the negative, and here we are live. Welcome to Morning Minutes. Myself, Michael Burgio, Mark Novak, episode 223. Champions love a negative, losers run for cover. Mark, what are we talking about?
You know what? Reviews is a big one. They're like, where were they 5 years ago or 10 years ago? No one really cared about, feedback online, didn't believe it, didn't know if it was true. It is substantiated. It is there. It is real. It's not going away. A bit like Uber.
Yes.
When Uber started giving these reviews with taxi drivers, I think that's when the world started getting really serious about, and also eBay. I think eBay started giving these extensive reviews on clients purchasing and selling. And now it's made its way to restaurants, it's made its way to real estate, but you've still got to be a bit of an eagle to work out the bullshit.
100%, because if you look over the last few years, now people there wasn't really accessible reviews up until recently. So people, they didn't care because there was no one reward where you could promote good ones, and there was no repercussions of where clients can clearly see if you're doing something wrong. But now, when you look at real estate, you've got so many platforms and it's so public for reviews. I think Google reviews sort of started, but then you look at Facebook, you look at companies like Rate My Agent, and we all know how to, it's pretty clear how to promote it well. There's some agents out there, I know Josh Teslin for one, who's had 550 positive reviews, and you can see how they handle the good stuff. But no one's talking about how to handle the bad stuff or how to spot the bad stuff. Because my mate said it really well. I remember Lockie said it one day when I was talking about reviews, and his sort of attitude was they're all full of shit because people only put the good ones. When you see someone who may do 100 deals and they have 20 reviews, yes, it can mean they don't really promote it and care for it, but it also means that couldn't be only one out of 100 or 20 out of 100 are happy with your service. So they are pretty distorted, but I think the big takeaways that we'll go through today, there's great opportunities where if you get a negative comment or a negative review, but it's rightfully so, there's two different ways people handle it. Mark, do you want to go through the loser way first?
Yeah, and also today I want to teach everyone how to where to go to find a good agent with reviews as well. So just remind me on the tail end to pick that up. But I think when you're getting a negative review, it's a brilliant opportunity to grow your business. And I think when you're getting a positive review, it's probably a little bit dangerous for you to be complacent. So at the end of the day, the reviews that are out there, you don't want to see them repeating in nature because then you've really got a bad business. But if it is a new review and a different part of your business that you can actually lift up your game, what a great opportunity. I think yesterday was an example where we had clients in our office not happy. And we were going through that, sitting down, listening. Not only are we going to fix that problem, but we're permanently going to plug that problem in our business. That's an opportunity for a bad review gone well.
Yeah. Well, Mark, let's go through that one. It was about a year ago. It was regarding Monavale Land. I had it come through. I'm not perfect, but I think we'll do this one because we were together when the negative review came in and how we brainstormed it. And the gist of it was there was 5 family members buying a property. I was communicating with only one family member who was just sort of the spokesman for it. And the negative review came from his sister, not his wife, his brother's wife, sister. And basically they made an offer, wasn't high enough. Someone else made a higher offer, went back to him to increase the offer, said no, sold it to somebody else. But when we dug deep on that negative review, so it came in, it was well written, it was quite long, and it was really just
on Facebook, I think it was.
On Facebook, so it's quite public, and it's quite hard because you try and do everything right, and buying a property is a huge decision for someone, and also it's hard if they find that perfect property or that opportunity and they miss it. you know there's not always going to come up again. So your stomach sinks when that comes in, thinking that they didn't, I don't know, that it went wrong. But how we handled that, Mark, was first you investigate who's who, and we were able to turn, because she was irate. Like that, it's one. If you don't handle the negative review, I could have seen her posting a million of them everywhere. Anything I did for the rest of my career, like, could have been trolling, because she was very irate, and rightfully so, on what she thought had happened. Because I remember when we were speaking about it, Mark, it was just, you get to the conversation, you find out, and unfortunately the brother hadn't communicated to her what had happened. And then even though they were still angry, they were understanding, and it turns. And that way they would still, and they've inquired on another property through me. So handling that negative allowed them to see another property through me. They didn't buy it, but it just stops it. It just stops it. And I think a lot of people run from it, don't they, Mark? They delete it, they ignore it, pretend.
Oh, deleting it would be the worst. I think, to take it front on, to have to let the people know that you care, to let the people know how it got to this situation, because often they don't understand the perspective. They've got their perspective of how the situation happened, but they don't have any other perspective. So communicating that to people and saying, look, first of all, I'm sorry, and thank you for letting us know, and let's work through this situation, how this happened and how it can't happen in the future. At the end of the day, it's always our problem. Do you know what I mean? So any review that we're getting, it's never the customer's problem. It's our problem. Even if the customers make a mistake, that's our problem, because we didn't help them, assist them, direct them in the right way, which led them to making the mistake. Do you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it's just a massive, massive learning curve for people. And I think
that's that great mindset. Like, that's that key mindset. It's our problem. It's our mistake. A lot of people go, well, they misheard it. They did that. We're here to serve people, and in customer service, the customer is always right. And we've got to take that onus. And I think a lot of people get stubborn, like, well, that's your problem. That's your fault. And they move on. So I think that's the biggest thing.
In business, it's not my department. Where people quarantine it off and go, oh, well, if that part of the business is failing or not doing well, it's not my problem. And it actually is, because that shit gets slurred over everybody. So at the end of the day, the business attitude is we are, in a bit like COVID, we are all in it together. So I think that in a business, like particularly with sales or property management, you'll get, a salesperson will say, look, that's not my problem, that's property management. And wonderful businesses, the salesperson say, well, that is my problem. That is property management. Because if you're good enough to take the good business out of property management, as in sell something, you've got to be good enough to help with bad business that comes out of property management as well. So, I think part of being a good business operator and negative reviews, be it a restaurant, be it if you're in the garbage business, be it whether you're in real estate, be it whether you're a lawyer, I think even when it's not your strain of the business or part of the business where a negative review is coming from, I think great business people will actually take that to heart and take responsibility as well, even if it's not their department. Because I think it's very important.
Look at it this way. If you go to a restaurant and let's say there's a chef that cooks the mains and a chef that cooks the desserts, and you have a rubbish dessert, when you leave that restaurant, you just say the restaurant was crap. No one goes, oh, it's the dessert that was crap, but the main was great. Like, they just give it a blanket review on the whole thing. Same in real estate. No, they're rubbish. They screwed me. Oh, and no one really digs deep and go, okay, was it the sales or the property management? Okay, property management. Okay, I'll still use that sales agent. Like, they don't really, you don't really get that chance to go through it that deeply. So that's why it's important. It's all one. Yeah, as you said, you celebrate all in the good experience and bad. Like, if someone, how many times we've had listings where it's had a review, it's had a recommendation from someone who had a great experience on property management, and they told that person, yep, they're great, but it was in relation to a sale. They rarely go, oh, it was the property management side, great, don't know the sales, or like, you've got to take the good with the bad.
And you know what? That's a beautiful thing about the review platforms that are out there at the moment. There's sort of a direct connection to the people that are making management decisions in the business. Because believe it or not, sometimes someone can be unhappy with service and just not say anything or review it to the
Yes.
wrong person. Whereas the major review platforms are going direct to management of those companies to get fixed. Often companies are having issues and they don't know where that the issue needs to be fixed because they don't know where the issue is happening. So the review platforms and people actually that are going to those platforms and complaining, that's really powerful stuff
Very
for
good
great
point.
business operators. Really, you know exactly where you're going wrong straight away.
Yeah.
So we've got at the bottom of all of our emails.
I was going to say, yeah.
What is it? What does it say?
It says tell the boss your feedback. So, and that's a direct link to basically yourself and Lisa. So it's on the bottom of every
sorry,
email.
it's
Good morning.
just a me.
Oh, is it just you?
Well, I'm the boss.
Yeah, you're the boss. Careful, Lisa's online. Lisa's on. Lisa, I hope you heard that.
Did you
And
get that? So
yeah, another thing off the back of that, what Lisa does really, really well is when you get a negative review as a comment or post, address it publicly, because a lot of the time the customer is just trolling. Like, this is a new thing happening on social media where a lot of people love to, Lisa just said, I'm the boss, Mark. I'm the boss of Mark. You're in trouble. Now, a big thing, yes, I heard it. A big thing is a lot of people, like, trolling is a big thing. Social media, you see it with celebrities, but you also see it with businesses. Now, the amount of times I've seen a negative comment.
Trolling's reviews. They're still reviews.
Yep, 100%.
Love it or lump it, they're not professional or they're not, but they're still an opinion, then they still are a review, even if they say, whatever. You're an
just
idiot.
Because they're not in the correct review platform section, a comment is a review. Everything someone says about you is a review. Now,
good call.
A lot of I see a lot of businesses, they get a negative and they delete it, which then people just assume the worst. But what I really appreciate, which I see Lisa does a lot, you'll have the comment, then we find out the information. And obviously, as long as it's not personal information or something that shouldn't be public, you respond publicly, because it's not just them who's reading it. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of people reading it and seeing how you're responding and want to know the resolution of that issue to see if you are a good company or a good person or you're not. And a lot of the times I've seen it where it's like they've said something and then the evidence comes out and then they just shut up or they delete it because it puts them in their place. But then you see people comment after it, like, good to know, or that's great. Like, I've had a lot of feedback from people commenting on feedback.
Thank you for your opinion.
Yes.
Thank you for your opinion, rather than, but look, the reality is we've got probably, if we're managing 3,000 landlords and tenants, 1,500 tenants, 2 to 3 tenants in each property, there's probably 5,000 tenants current that we're managing out there, and we're managing all. And often when these guys move out, there's work to be done, and that's a hard story to tell a tenant. That, look, we need you to take your money out of your back pocket and fix this because it wasn't like that when you moved in. It's a real arm wrestle for a lot of rental properties when people move out. Those people have opinions. Those people have reviews. They are always negative, but what we try to do is be very, very evidential, very factual in what's out there. So you may have seen that sometimes you may see something online from us saying, look, we didn't get our bond back,
Yes.
and we have no problem at all with putting the evidence online. So if it is actually the person that's moved out of the property that has basically dirtied the carpet, we will put the photos on the review online and say, look, we're very sorry that this has happened, but these are the photos from when you moved out of the carpet, and this was the landlord's decision. So again, not just saying, like, being very factual, being evident, a lot of evidence, and addressing what people's concerns are.
Diplomatic and be respectful. That's what Lisa's written.
Yeah, super.
Okay, what
Super.
about positive ones? So we covered the negatives and responding to it. Like the takeouts of that are respond, get to the bottom of it. As I think it was Michael or Andrew said, solve the issue. Like they're giving you an opportunity to make amends instead of just thinking in the back of their head, like, I hate them, I'm never using, they're rubbish. No, 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 never using them. They're giving you a lifeline to make up for it. So take it is the biggest takeout. Take
Yep.
take it. Okay, positive. But you want me to say how to find a great agent on reviews?
Yeah. How do we do that? Okay, you want to sell in Nelson Bay. You got a client wants to sell in Nelson Bay. As a client, sorry, how would you find someone in Nelson Bay to choose to sell based on reviews?
So a big thing would be you look at realestate.com, see what they've sold and how many. Now, you can be very fortunate if they've sold a couple of properties recently, like within probably a 6-week period, because most settlements are 6 weeks. Hey, Tybate, good to see you on. I would probably just go knock on the door personally. Like that's a really strong way. So if they've sold a house a week ago, they're not.
Old fashioned.
Yeah, more often than not, the person is still living there because settlements are 6 weeks. However, but how would you do it online from the comfort? Now, you've got for real estate, I would be looking at Facebook reviews, Google reviews, but probably the biggest one is Rate My Agent, which is a mutual, well, it was mutual, but now it's owned by Domain, it is a separate website on its own that landlords, tenants, buyers, and sellers can post a review. And what I like about this, they do really track that people don't make it up. So if it basically an IP address, if it does more than one, that it can be like, because sometimes you see agents create a fake email address and give the review themselves. So Rate My Agent, they've got a whole department making sure all the reviews are legit and from the buyer or the seller. Angelo, Ella, Anmar, good to have you on. We're talking about positive and negative reviews. If you just joined in, and
Angelo's number one on Rate My Agent DY for reviews.
Yes, so he works it. He does really well. How else, Mark?
So if I was looking for an agent based on reviews, I would be trawling. First of all, I would see how they're reviewing themselves on their own social media. So Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I would see how they review themselves, how they report to the market, how they, their level of sales that they're doing, what sort of person they are. I think how you review yourself or present yourself is very, very important on reviews. Second to that, I then think, I know realestate.com runs a review platform on realestate.com. Rate My Agent runs a review platform on Rate My Agent.
And just on that, Admiral just said now mortgage brokers are on Rate My Agent. Breaking news. I hadn't heard that before. Big.
Yeah, wow.
Yep.
Wow. So brokers are reviewing agents, or this is for reviewing your broker?
Or Admiral, is that buyers reviewing the broker or agents reviewing the broker? That will be big. Rate My Agent has a free option and a paid option for agents. The agents who pay seem to rate a lot higher. Now, the paid option, I think, is just to have a bigger, like a little ad, but
sponsorship.
Yeah, sponsorship. But it is based on the transactions.
So if you're a consumer, keep an eye out, because a well-branded Rate My Agent ad is often paid by the agent, the branding side of things. The position of it is undisputed. You can't pay to get a higher position. Yes. But I think if we look at Anmal's comment there,
reviewing a broker.
I think the agent is treating themselves much more serious, so serious that they're willing to sponsor themselves on a well-branded ad. And then they're treating the whole Rate My Agent thing much more serious. They're paying for it. And they're getting
Rate My Agent now, actually.
Hey?
I'll bring up Rate My Agent while we got it. If you want to keep going through,
bring it up. And I find I often put a pitch in of this person's great or this person's good, awesome. That's a really good way to get a good review on someone, one person, because what happens is there begins to be a pattern. So you'll see that you put on your social media, hey guys, I'm looking for a good air conditioning person. There'll be 10 people nominated, but there'll be one person nominated 4 times. And you go, okay, this guy's probably the better of the 10. It's almost like your own review platform.
Yeah, that's big. All right. Anything else you want to add, Mark, or is that a wrap?
I've got a new green screen.
Beautiful.
Do you want to see it?
Yeah.
See it.
Oh, I was going to say nice. Alrighty, guys.
Yeah,
well,
that's it there. It won't come up on it won't come up on the other one because it's green. That's what the other one's programmed to not. Yeah. Do you want me to put it up for you?
Yeah, we'll do that. And we'll talk about it tomorrow. But we won't keep everyone. Thanks for joining. We'll be back on Saturday morning, breakfast with Novak as well. And this will be podcast.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah, you're matching me now. All righty. Thank you, everyone.
See you guys. Love ya. Bye.